Welcome to another exciting episode of the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Brad Sugars, the Chairman and CEO of ActionCoach, and today we're diving into the minds of some incredible business leaders, uncovering their real stories, strategies, and the secrets behind their victories. It's not just about success, it's about the journey, the hurdles, and turning challenges into opportunities. So let's jump right into it.
Today, I am thrilled to welcome Melanie Langley, the Managing Director of Oliver Myles. Oliver Myles creates boutique events for both corporate and private days, from the Monaco Grand Prix to clay pigeon shooting to perfume making experiences. Melanie, it's great to have you with us. Let's dive into the top 3 things you did that made you successful in business and how others can follow in your footsteps.
Okay, lovely to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. So the top 3 things that I did to make Oliver Myles events successful. I think the first thing is that customer service has always been the most important thing to us. And that's come from my background all the way going back to the 1980s when I started working in 24-hour telephone sales rooms, selling theatre tickets through the night when Phantom of the Opera was at its height, and I'd spend, the night speaking to American clients, phoning in, wanting to book their tickets for Phantom. And it was instilled in me the need for great service to clients and authenticity, actually, and being able to speak to people. So that's something that's been very much part of my career. And when I started Oliver Myles events with my then business partner, who is now retired, it was very important to both of us that the way we looked after our clients, what we offer, you will find other people in the market offering events, maybe not the unique events that we try to put together, but we'll offer an event service. So the first key had to be about the service levels and how we look after our clients. The second thing that made us successful, it may sound simple, but hard work. We just keep going and we keep working hard. And because we're not a huge company, we are able to be flexible and we're able to react to market trends. So it's not like a huge cruise liner that takes a long time to maneuver.
Yes.
We're more like a speedboat, if you like. Sleek and luxurious, but a speedboat. And we can maneuver very quickly, which was incredibly important during the pandemic because we were able to react very quickly to the situation and to make adjustments, and that helped us go through. And the other thing that has made us successful is our creativity. I mentioned very briefly that we try to put together unique events. So you will find you can do a clay pigeon shooting event.
Yes.
Most places, most countries will have them. It's a classic team building event. What we do is we do it off the back of a boat in the middle of the River Thames, in the middle of London, which is not something people think that you would be able to do, but we have the licenses to do that. And it's just that added little twist, that added little bit of theatre, little bit of drama that I think has helped us to be as successful as we have been.
Excellent. So customer service, hard work,
Yep.
and you're small and agile, so you all can actually get those things done, and creativity. I love the one on the clay pigeon shooting where you can actually go onto the Thames and have that level of experience. Very good. And
Absolutely.
in terms of creativity, how have you gone about actually being so unique? I mean, what do you do? What does Melanie do to offer that unique experience given the competition out there in your sector?
Absolutely. It's about research.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being open to ideas wherever they come from. It's not just about Melanie. It's about the team. So we'll all sit and brainstorm ideas, and we'll come up with some wacky ideas. And sometimes when you dive into it, you go, no, that's actually not going to work. But we're members of various professional organisations, do a lot of visiting venues and networking, and that can just spark an idea. And sometimes it's as simple as reading a newspaper. Last Christmas, we did a beautiful event at Leeds Castle where we hired the whole of the castle for the evening. And that was sparked because I'd read a newspaper article saying that on rare occasions you can book accommodation at the castle. We thought, wow, well, what if we book all of the castle for the night? And we had the most spectacular Christmas event. People booked normally as couples or as groups of friends. They came and stayed in the castle, and it was like a house party from the 1920s.
Right.
They had drinks in the drawing room. They had dinner in the grand dining room. We had entertainment. We had dancing. It was a fabulous weekend.
I can imagine. And talk to me about customer service. Why is that number one? And what are you doing to, again, differentiate yourself from the other competitors in the market?
I think it's very easy with customer service to say, yeah, we offer great service. It's another thing to actually deliver it.
Yes.
And it's about listening and genuinely listening, not paying lip service, and getting to know your clients and understanding them and having real conversations. A lot of my clients from over the years, I would now call friends. And it's important that you do say, I'm sorry when it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
We were wrong. Tell me what we can do better, as well as taking the praise and the plaudits when they're there.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. I mean, you did mention a couple of things. You say sorry when you are wrong, which is good. So talk to me about, what personal values are important for people when it comes to your business?
Our personal values,
Mm-hmm.
Authenticity.
Okay.
Kindness, actually, I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a two-way street. And an example, during the pandemic, one of our really good clients rang him up to explain that his event was not going ahead.
Right.
He was very ill at the time. He was one of the first people to get COVID, so was very poorly with it. And I just said, it's fine. We will sort out the details when you're well. I wish you well, Kevin. How's your wife? Had that conversation. About a month later, he phoned me back when he was feeling well, and I said, oh, right, now we need to sort out. And he said, no, Mel, I'm just ringing to say, how are you? It must be really difficult for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say, we'll sort things out when the time's right, but how are you? And it's that two-way street. It's important. So kindness, yes, in both directions. Being fair.
Right.
So making sure that our pricing is fair, and occasionally saying no. We're not afraid to say no. Sometimes the client will come to us and say, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And we'll look at it and go, do you know what? We're not the right people for that. But you might try these people. We know them. They're very good. Or you might want to think about doing this in a different way.
Right.
So it's honesty. Yeah, honesty. Sorry. That's a long way of saying honesty.
No, brilliant. So I've got kindness, being fair, honesty, and authenticity. Amazing. Now, so let's go back to your beginning. What made you decide to get into this business, and why this particular business, Melanie?
So long ago, back in the days before the internet, as I said, I started off selling tickets in a 24-hour credit card room. I then worked on to work at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
And I was there as box office manager for 10 years, back in the 1990s. And I loved it. I loved the Royal Albert Hall. Fabulous venue. But after 10 years, I sat there and thought, I'm either going to stay here till I die,
Right.
or I'm going to have to do something different. And I don't want to work in another box office at another venue, because actually this is the pinnacle. So it would just be a sideways move. And actually, I was approached by someone who owned an events company and said, would you like to come and work for me? And I thought, right, it's now or never.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the leap. I went and worked for another events company where I met Alan, who was my original business partner.
Right.
And further down the line, we decided that actually we wanted to be in charge. We wanted to do this for ourselves. So we started Oliver Myles in 2011 together.
Okay. And then what happened? What happened with Alan at that point?
So Alan and I had very different skill sets.
Okay.
Alan was very much the salesman,
Mm-hmm.
and I was operations. So we started just the two of us from our respective homes,
Mm-hmm.
and built the business. Come 2016, Alan decided he wanted to retire.
Sure.
He was approaching 70 by then, so I think it was allowed. And I bought him out. And since then, I've grown the business in a different direction. And we've certainly become more automated.
Right.
We've taken things off on a slightly different slant. Alan is still there in the background, offering advice when needed.
Okay. So he's like a mentor in the background. Okay.
Absolutely.
So 2016, Alan went. So that must have been quite lonely for you. How did you go about growing the business from there?
It was incredibly lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually. I don't think I did very well
Mm-hmm.
at being on my own. I missed having that other person to bat ideas around with. So I continued in that vein for possibly 2 years.
Okay.
And then I met Simon Elson,
Okay.
who became my coach and mentor, and completely changed things for me.
All right. So he's your business coach. And all right, let's look at business coach for a minute. I mean, what did it do for you and the business, pre-Simon and then when Simon came over? Talk to us about that.
So I think it's very easy to become very introspective, introverted when it's just you. And obviously I had my team, but there are certain things you can't share with your team.
Yes.
You have to be the leader. You have to be the positive force. So once Simon came on board, there was someone I could talk to in a very honest way about what my concerns were. And he listened, which was great. He would offer suggestions, which were great as well. But also, he would challenge me. And one of the first things he challenged me about was booking events on our website. He said, well, why can't you book your events on your website? And I came up with 100 reasons why you can't.
Oh, yeah.
And he went, well, should we just try it? Should we try it? And we did in a different way to how we do it now. We sort of dipped our toe in the water. And it amazed me that people would sit there and book something like the Monaco Grand Prix, which is £2,500 to £3,000 per head.
Yes.
Online without speaking to anyone. And I've always wanted to speak to the clients and to be the person that's explaining, yes, this is what you should wear, and this is where the the tender will drop you before you go onto the yacht, and to sort of give them a flavour of the event. I kind of felt I was being a bit left out by the online bookings, but obviously it's been a game changer for us.
Oh, brilliant! And so you had Simon before COVID or after COVID? What was
before?
So talk to me. How was the business during COVID? Given that this is a unique, personalized event where you're meeting people or people are going out. So what was that?
Oh, there was nothing. We couldn't run events for 18 months. We weren't permitted to. We tried doing some virtual events, some virtual wine tastings. We did a couple of virtual Christmas parties. Really just to keep our name in front of our regular clients more than anything. They certainly weren't making us a great deal of money. I know other companies did pivot and do a lot around virtual events and make a whole separate business out of it, but it's never been what we were about. We're about getting people together and having lovely social occasions. So it really didn't work for us. So we just had to hunker down and take all the support that was out there. But because we had a solid foundation, and because, as I said, we moved very, very quickly in closing down the office and bringing everything in as much as we could, we made it through.
Okay. And when you, in all this time, right, from 2016, when Alan, departed and he retired, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you actually overcome it?
I suppose it's got to be COVID, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. That has been our biggest challenge. But that aside, Brexit.
Okay, tell me more.
So when Alan was still with the business, we were running car rallies across Europe, luxury car rallies, where guests would bring their own beautiful cars, their Ferraris, their Bentleys, their Porsches, and we would plan a route from the UK to a final destination over 7 days. So we went to Monaco, we went to Venice, we went to Prague, we took them to Spa-Francorchamps, the circuit in Belgium, with a different 5-star hotel each night and dinners. They were huge events. And we'd run about 9 of those in the time that Alan was still with the business. And then Alan left and Brexit happened. And because of Brexit, the pound-euro conversion just it went to the dogs. So what had been a £5,000 holiday for 2 people for a week suddenly was getting closer to £8,000 and a harder sell. And I also didn't have Alan not only as the salesperson of the business, but someone who's absolutely passionate about his cars. So it was always a very easy sell for him. He'd get somebody on the line and they'd start talking about the 2 clutches in the Ferrari, and I've no idea what they were talking about, but it worked. So I had to take the difficult decision that we weren't going to do those anymore. It was losing Alan and having the cost soar just didn't make sense anymore. But we still had all those lovely clients, the people that used to come on them, and we'd regularly take 70 people per trip.
Wow. Okay.
And they're phoning up saying, well, what we're going to do instead, Mel? Mm-hmm. And that's when we started building more of our own experiences in the UK. So our Christmas gala dinner on the Royal Yacht Britannia, when we hired the yacht for the evening, private tours of Windsor Castle, all those things sort of built from there. So yes, we lost the luxury car rally part of the business, but we grew our home experiences instead.
Got it.
And now we started venturing back out into Europe again. So we've got a weekend coming up in Champagne, and we regularly do a ball in Vienna at the Hofburg Palace.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So speaking about clients, what are the top 3 reasons clients keep coming back to you?
the uniqueness of our experiences,
Mm-hmm.
the way we look after them, and value for money, I think.
Okay. And how do you look after them? Give me an example. What does Oliver Myles do? How do you look after them?
So for our own experiences, we're always there.
Okay.
In person to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So if it's not myself, it's my colleague Carol or one of our team. We react quickly.
Okay.
So if someone drops us a line and says, "I want to go and see Taylor Swift," or I don't know, "I want to go and see a concert at the Royal Albert Hall,"
Yes.
we'll come back to them quickly. And actually, I've had recently on one of our reviews, one of our newer clients who only started booking with us this year and has now booked 3 things, put on his review, "I wish I'd met these guys before. They don't do the hard sell on you,
Wow.
but they offer you something that you want." And I thought, I hadn't actually thought about it in that way.
That's a great testimony.
Mm.
Indeed. And now, what are some specific roadblocks to watch out for in your business or for any entrepreneur?
I think same for any business. It's competition. It's
Mm-hmm.
we make a big thing about offering unique events, but we don't have a monopoly on them. So people can take our ideas and
Sure.
and run with them. So it's always about finding new ideas to replace. What other roadblocks? Well, it's things that are outside our control. When our dear Queen died,
Right.
we had guests in Windsor Castle doing a private tour, and it was stopped then and there, and all our events for the next 2 weeks really were halted because the country was in mourning.
Yeah.
That was outside our control.
Got it. Okay. Well, one final question. I mean, what is the top piece of advice you would give to any other entrepreneur listening into this podcast?
Top piece of advice. I always say, if I'd known in 2011 what I had to learn, I would have been scared and probably gone, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much that you need to understand. So just take the first step. Don't worry too much about everything that you will have to cover and learn. Just take the first step. You will do it as you go along.
Yeah, that's amazing. In fact, yesterday I was listening into a podcast where the podcast actually hosts multimillionaires, and one of the guests was saying that I don't believe in afterlife. And the host asked him, "What do you mean by afterlife?" He said, I don't want to be sitting with all these gurus and say, you have to do this, 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 and then you start off your business, right? You're not going to go to a business school for 10 years and then come out, or maybe 3 years and then start your business. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't believe in that. I said, you start off and you will make it and you will learn on the way. But you need to be resilient. So that's it's very unique. And Melanie, it's great having you on the show. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to our amazing guest for pouring their heart into sharing their journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.